Hola chicos y bienvenidos a otra presentación gramatical sobre dos preposiciones que hemos visto a lo largo de mucho tiempo, para y por. Ok, para empezar, ¿cuáles son algunas expresiones que ustedes conocen con por? Por ejemplo, ¿no? Por ejemplo, y por la mañana, por la tarde, por la noche, etc. No? Por favor. So this is not the first time we've seen por or even para. In fact, you've seen por and para throughout the past 3 semesters in Spanish. So when in doubt, just guess which one sounds right. And the reason why you can apply that strategy effectively is because you would never ever probably use para with favor, because you would think that sounds weird, or para ejemplo, por ejemplo sounds right, por favor sounds right, because you've already been exposed to lots of uses of por and para. But we're going to review some uses that may not be as obvious. So go ahead and access your notes that are provided under content on the Oaks homepage so that you can take notes on this PowerPoint presentation and identify the specific uses of por and para. Empecemos con por. Estuvo en tráfico por 3 horas. We know what this is saying. The meaning is very clear. But why are we using por instead of para? Because these prepositions don't necessarily have a direct translation consistent in English. It can mean from or through or for. It just depends. In this particular context, we're going to use por whenever we have a duration of time. We'll use por 2 minutos, por 5 días, por 10 años, por un siglo. So any type of duration of time, you can use por. And, on the super site, these are going to be 1 in 10 activities on the test and on the homework. So it's kind of important you understand how it's being used and not just solely guess if it sounds weird or you're not sure. Por no utilizar el navegador GPS, se perdió. Se perdió. Este señor está perdido. ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué no utilizó el navegador GPS? So here we have a reason or an explanation stating why. ¿Por qué? And that's the logic you can apply when inferring. Do I use por with an infinitive or do I use para with the infinitive? Because you can use por and para with infinitives. When you use por with an infinitive, identify if it's providing an explanation. Could you ask the question por qué and get that response? Okay? ¿Por qué se perdió? Por no utilizar navegador GPS, se perdió. So think about it like that. If it's a reason or an explanation and you could ask the question, ¿por qué?, then you need to use por with the infinitive. Pagué $300 por estas llantas. Okay, so aquí vamos a usar por otra vez, porque tenemos un cambio de dinero. So whenever we have some sort of amount, monetary exchange, an amount of money, or, trading, you could trade, in elementary school at lunchtime in the cafeteria, you trade your, Oreo cookies for a Twinkie. So any type of amount, a monetary exchange, or just a simple exchange, we're going to use por. Probably on the super site and on, homework and tests, it's going to be money. but you can also use it for trading as well. Dejé mi móvil por aquí ayer. So we're using por to say exactly where we left it. Aquí, allá, por encima de mi bolsa, etc. So we're going to use por when we reference a location where something was left. Remember, dejar un mensaje, por ejemplo, is to leave something behind. Todos los días conduzco por la calle King. Por and para can be both used with places like la calle King or la playa or el Océano Atlántico. But when we use por in a place, we are using por to identify a route to somewhere. Like, cuando voy a la playa, cruzo el puente Ravenel. Or cuando voy a la playa de Sullivan's, cruzo el puente Ravenel. Paso por el puente Ravenel. So you'll often see the verb pasar por, to go by, to go through. Like, cuando camino a mis clases, paso por Starbucks. Le escribo mensajes de texto a mi esposo por móvil todos los días. And you know what? This example and this use of por, I don't even think it's in the book. So móvil, we know, is referring to a mobile device. And we use por modes of communication. So if you see like por FaceTime, por Snapchat, por Facebook, por Twitter, por teléfono, which you may have heard before, whenever we see any reference to a means of communication, we use por. En los Estados Unidos se maneja mucho por carro. And again, not in the book, but modes of transportation. Por avión, por tren, por bus, por Uber, por Lyft. We're going to use por. Modes of transportation. That's the other usage. So you're really just looking for these context clues. What about uses of para that you might already know? I know that in my face-to-face classes, we use this expression a lot, and you're going to see this on your final exam. Se usa para conducir el carro, el volante. Para can be used to say what something is used for. Careful, because of that, you have the question word por qué to ask why, but para qué can also be used in a question, not asking why, but what for. For example, like, ¿para qué se usa el móvil? Se usa el móvil para comunicar. So careful if you're filling in the blank with K in a question. It could be por or para. So you're trying to identify if it's stating a purpose. So you might already be familiar with that, and you might think of some other para expressions you already know. But here's some in specific examples, and you can figure out the uses of para. Okay, salgo para el taller mecánico a las 5. So por la calle King, or paso por el puente Ravenel, we use for route, but para we use for our destination. Be very careful, because like I said, you can use por or para with a place. What you have to decide is, am I talking about a route or am I talking about a destination? And so oftentimes we'll see the verb salir with para, but pasar with por. Esta computadora portátil es para Alicia, okay? So Alicia, in this case, is getting a new laptop. She's the recipient of a gift or an item. And you could say, like, la pizza es para los niños, or el pastel es para, el cumpleaños de Javier. So whenever somebody is the recipient of someone, if you were to write a gift tag on a gift to somebody who didn't speak English and only spoke Spanish, you would say, like, para Juan. Se usan las llaves para arrancar el carro. So here we have para plus an infinitive, and this is what I was talking about initially with para, to state the purpose of something. And the question would be, ¿para qué se usan las llaves? So careful with that. Para, purpose. El examen es para lunes. So we use para when we're talking about an upcoming date or deadline for something. So when you see a reference to time, not a duration of time, but para el 10 de agosto, or la fiesta es para este sábado, you're going to use para. Perdón, para ser antiguo, el televisor funciona bien. So, el televisor es muy antiguo, es una paradoja, una contradicción. So because this TV is very old, we have a contrast, some sort of comparison, paradox, if you will. And I like to use the word paradox because the word paradox is a contradiction and it has the word para in it. And the reason why I want you to take note here is that para is used with an infinitive to state that something is contradicting itself. So careful, because you can use por with infinitives as well when we're providing a reason or an explanation. But if it's a contradiction, like a paradox, you use para with the infinitive. Trabajo para College of Charleston. So we use para for places of employment and also for athletics. Por or para y por qué. You try it out. See if you can get these. Necesitas conexión inalámbrica para navegar en la red. ¿Por qué? Because right here we're using it with an infinitive, but that's not good enough because we use por with infinitives because it's not a paradox. It's the purpose. The purpose of Wi-Fi is to be able to, surf the network, the World Wide Web. Para, purpose. Por la puerta. This is not our destination. La puerta is a door. The door is not our destination. The door is our route. Remember, when we have por in a place, we're talking about the route, how we got somewhere. Okay, look carefully at this one. We've got the infinitive. Now decide, is this a paradox or an explanation? Would this be the answer to the question, para qué or por qué? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué pusiste los frenos? Por estar nervioso cuando conducías. So remember, if you can ask the question with por qué and you find the answer to your question why, you know it's por with the infinitive. This one's a little tricky. We have a person, and actually I don't think I reviewed this in my previous examples, so let me explain. We're using por with a person. We talked about earlier that we use para with people when they're recipients. But here we're using por with a person because we're doing them a favor. And this is very easy to remember because please in Spanish is por favor. And when we do somebody a favor, when we do something on someone's behalf, like print their document for them, we use por. So in that case, por. We did my mom a favor. What do? We filled up her tank. Precio. Barato, económico, por. Because of exchange. Even though we don't have a specific dollar amount, we know precio is referring to money or price. Okay, once again, we have a sentence with an infinitive, por or para. Can we answer, is this the answer to the question, por qué or para qué? Is this an explanation or is this a paradox? It's a paradox because my phone is new, but it doesn't work well. That's a contradiction. So es para. Here's your context clue. Upcoming date. Para. Upcoming date or deadline. We use para. Okay, and as you can see, we can use por and para together. Here we have por and para being used to talk about destination and route, and recipient and exchange. Alright, so ahora están listos para practicar este concepto. Muchas gracias y hasta luego.